All right, so glad that you guys came here on this Wednesday to join me on your mats. So thank you for being here. I say it all the time, but that's actually the hardest thing to do is just making it here, just turning on the computer and getting yourself on the floor. So hopefully the rest will be a little bit easier. Today, I thought it could be useful to spend some time focusing on one of the ethical principles in yoga called aparigraha, which is in essence this idea of non-attachment. And there's a lot of lessons that we can glean from this, but today I thought it would be helpful to focus on finding some detachment from our thoughts specifically. I know I've spoken to numerous people in the past couple of weeks that, and myself even, we have these thoughts of, I'm scared, or I feel guilty, or I'm sad, or, so many I'm. And if we can give ourselves a little bit of space between those statements and say something like, I'm noticing that I'm feeling sad right now, or I'm noticing that I'm having these thoughts of guilt or thoughts of, I'm fearful thoughts. If we can give ourselves a little bit more space and detach ourselves and realize that these are thoughts and not a part of who we are, it can be really helpful sometimes. I know I've gained some help from that myself. So I kind of just want to invite us into that space of learning how we can detach ourselves from some of those thoughts and feelings. Even good things, if we cling on to them for too long, can be problematic. If you think about the breath, even if you hold your breath in too long, that actually becomes toxic to your lungs. So even good things, we have to learn how to let them go in their own time when they're ready. So I'm just going to invite us into that space with a little bit of a meditation, and then we'll get started with our physical practice together. So go ahead and find that comfortable seat, sitting up nice and tall. Maybe bring your shoulders up towards your ears, and then just let them go all the way back down the back, drawing some big circles. Let's do that a few times. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, let them release down the back. One more time. Inhale, shoulders up. And then exhale, open up. And then if you want, you can place your palms face up on top of your knees, drawing your eyes to close. Noticing the rhythm of the breath, inhaling through the nose, trying to exhale through the nose. Then as you sit here, start to notice any thoughts or images that come up. Doing your best not to put judgment on those thoughts or images, but just notice what's coming up for you right now. And then seeing if you can place a layer of detachment there. Maybe if a to-do list is running in your mind, maybe you're just able to take a step back and say, I'm noticing that I'm trying to create this list in my mind right now and I'm not staying present. Even that kind of statement allows us to come back into this moment. Or if you want to try a different exercise, sometimes when my thoughts become hard while I'm in meditation, it can be helpful to just label the thought. So maybe a thought comes in and it's harsh or unhelpful, and I'll just say, okay, that's unhelpful. And just labeling it as unhelpful lets me release it a little bit easier. Or maybe I have a really good thought, a profound thought or statement, something that's giving me strength or wisdom, and I say, that is helpful. So just do your best to stay with the exercise. As we begin to move, you can keep your eyes closed. Let's just bow the head, drop the chin towards the chest. Continuing to turn inward as you feel that stretch along the upper spine and through the back. And then slowly left ear towards the left shoulder. Feel that little stretch along the side of the neck. And then back through center. And you can bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. Let's go back and forth a few times. Drop through center. Over towards the left. Center and over towards the right. Take your time. You can pause anywhere that you need to. And as you're ready, you can come back to a neutral position. Maybe opening your eyes at this point. Big inhale. Let's lift through the fingertips long and tall. Big inhale. Sip up the air as much as you can. And then big exhale, release the palms all the way back down towards your sides. Let's do that a few times. Inhale, reach through the fingertips. Maybe look up towards the ceiling this time, tilting that chin up. Exhale, press that air away, press the arms away, release. One more, inhale, lift and lengthen. Maybe you grow a couple of centimeters taller. Exhale, press the hands away. Inhale, reaching the arms up. We'll take a spinal twist now. Right hand behind the back, left hand to the right knee. Exhale, turn and twist, look over that right shoulder. Inhale, reach and lengthen back through center. Exhale, over towards the opposite side. Not forcing the twist, just gentle here at the beginning of class. Inhale, reach and lengthen back through center. Exhale, hands behind the hips. You're gonna drop the knees down towards the floor, but you'll lift the hips up and the heart up towards the sky as you tilt that head back. Good, exhale, gently release, hips come back down. Let's switch the cross of the legs, same motion. Knees come down, hips lift up, heart opens, look back. And exhale, gently release. Let's roll over into a tabletop position to begin today. So the first thing is we're gonna actually take our hands in a reverse position. So just take those fingertips. You're rotating the arm around so the fingertips point towards the knees. And then all we're doing is we're swaying back and forward to give our wrists a little bit of a stretch here. Good. Just a couple of times. And then we can release that, and we're going to place the tops of the hands now on the mat. You're still fingertips pointed back towards you, and just gently give your wrist a little bit of a stretch that way. This is really good when we're on our computers a lot to reverse that stretch of the wrist when it's lifted up so much typing. So just get a little stretch here. It's really good. It doesn't take very long either. If you feel like you need more of a stretch, you can bring your fingertips together, coming up to meet your thumb. Good, and then just gently release. We'll place palms back forward, fingertips facing forward now. And a few rounds of cat-cow. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, look up. Exhale, round the spine, squeeze the core, drop the head. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, round. Go here, a few rounds at your own pace, back and forth. And as you're ready, let's come back and find that neutral position. We're going to take that left leg behind us, and we're just lift up that left leg. And then we're going to reach up that right arm. Inhale, reach and lengthen. Imagine you're trying to touch opposite ends of the room. Exhale, elbow and knee join. Squeeze the core. It's like a little crunch here. Inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale together. Good. Inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale together, back and forth. And it's okay to hear yourself breathe. You can make it a little bit exaggerated if you need to. One more time. And then drop that hand in the knee. Just moving to the opposite side. Right leg extends behind you. Left leg in front. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, elbow and knee. Inhale. And exhale. Back and forth. Good job. Stay controlled. It's not about speed. It's really about finding that focus. One more time. And then hand and knee meet the mat. But spread the knees out wide. Drop the hips back towards the heels for child's pose. Forehead towards the mat. Lengthen through the fingertips, making this an active child's pose. So your elbows are actually lifted off the mat. Use this as a place of contemplation, coming back to that intention of non-attachment, giving ourselves some separations from our thoughts and feelings. It doesn't mean we ignore them, but we notice them as thoughts and feelings. As you're ready, inhale, come back forward, tabletop. Exhale, curl the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. So hips all the way up towards the sky, heels closer towards the floor, but you can keep a slight bend in the knees, that's perfectly fine. Or a big bend in the knees if you need, and just start to pedal the feet out. So one heel comes down, and then the other. As you do so, think about flattening the spine and drawing that heart, that chest, closer to the tops of the thighs. You can just relax the head here. Sometimes I even shake it back and forth a few times to help remind myself to relax the head. And as you're ready, let's look between the hands and let's slowly tiptoe, very slowly. You don't have to use the core if you walk slowly because you'll have to lift the legs up closer towards the heart. Good. Once you're near the top of the mat, just release the upper body down, forehead down, maybe swaying back and forth. Maybe fingertips are able to touch the shins, maybe they touch the floor. Wherever you're at is fine. Inhale, lift up halfway for a flat back. You still look down towards the top of the mat. Exhale, release. Inhale, reverse swan dive, slight bend in the knees. You're skipping out a lot of good energy as you lift the hands up over the head. Slight back bend by pressing the hips forward, looking up and back. And then hands through heart center. Inhale, sweep up, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward facing fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, release. Bend the knees. We'll take those hands down and step the feet all the way back for a plank pose. Great. So from plank, just like we've done in previous weeks, we're really thinking about that strong, flat line from the crown of the head to the backs of the heels. Sometimes I see that there's a temptation for people to look back towards their feet. in plank, but really you're looking a little bit ahead of the hands. So right between and a little bit ahead of the hands. Good, from this position, slowly lower all the way down to the floor. You can drop to your knees first if you need to, or come all the way down on your belly. From this pose, we're going to keep those legs and those tops of the legs firmly planted on the floor. And all we're going to do is take a little bit of a back bend here. So a light grip with the hands underneath the shoulders. Hug those elbows in tight beside the body. Inhale, imagine the strength pulling up from the crown of the head and start to lift that chest off the floor. So you're trying not to put too much weight in the hands, but you're using the muscles of the back to help you lift. Good, one more inhale. Exhale, slowly release. We'll curl the toes under, press up to plank, and then downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts, three-legged dog. Exhale, step the right foot between the hands. And we're going to rotate that back foot down at a 45-degree angle for warrior one pose. As you're ready, inhale, lift the arms all the way up overhead. In warrior one, we want to make sure our hips are square to the front of the mat. So you might just want to grab the hips and just see if you can point them towards the top of the mat. Back leg is straight and right knee is bent. Good, and arms are up overhead. So just check out what warrior one feels like. We'll do it a few times today. To begin, we're going to take a humble warrior. We'll interlace the hands behind the back. Inhale, open that chest up towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold forward, right shoulder but on the inside of that right knee. Inhale, let's lift back up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. One more, exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, arms lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to plank. From plank, you can stay here, go to downward facing dog, or you can go through a chaturanga, slowly lowering down to the mat. Inhale, pulling the chest through. Exhale, lifting the hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts here. Exhale, left foot between the hands. We'll rotate that right foot down at a 45-degree angle. And as you're ready, inhale, lifting arms up. Again, make sure those hips are square to the front of the mat. Right leg is as straight as possible. And deep bend in that left knee. Good, take one breath here. And then we'll interlace the hands behind the back. Try to pull those wrists together as you inhale, open up that chest. And then exhale, humble warrior, forward facing fold. You're not resting on the left thigh, but you're coming in between the legs. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen, arms come all the way back up overhead. We'll plant the hands down on the mat. Take it back to plank and flow through your vinyasa. So drop through chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Look between the hands, walk, step, or jump, forward fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, releasing. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Sweep the arms all the way up. Take that little back bend. And hands through heart center. Great job. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. So we're doing the same sort of flow without the humble warrior this time. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, release. Bend knees, plant hands back to plank. Chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, right foot between the hands. As you're ready, warrior one. Spiral that back foot down, lift the arms up. Exhale, hands back down to the mat, back to plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Next, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot between the hands. As you inhale, spiral the right foot down, lift the arms all the way up. Warrior 1. Exhale, hands come down, lower through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Look between the hands, walk, step, or jump, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Sweep the arms all the way up, little back bend. And hands through heart center. Good, pause there. You might have noticed that one was a little bit faster because we were trying to move with the breath. I get people that ask me, what do you like to do when you practice yoga? And it's stuff like that, where it's a little bit more rhythmic. And so we're gonna do that. Again, it gets you in a really more meditative space. Big inhale, lift the arms up. Great, try to follow breath to movement. Exhale, forward facing fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Bend knees, plant hands, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot between the hands. Lifting arms all the way up. Good, exhale, hands come down. You step the right foot back. All the same exhale, you go through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot between the hands. Lifting arms all the way up. Exhale, come down, left foot back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths here. Look between the hands, walk, step, or jump, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Sweep the arms all the way up. Take a little back bend. And hands through heart center. So you don't have to know a lot of moves to do yoga. You can just do something like that simple flow a number of times and receive a lot of benefits. So inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Bend knees, plant hands back to plank, and just hold plank here for a moment. And do another strength building exercise that will require us to really dig deep here and focus. So you can either hold plank here, hands, or you can drop down to your knees if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to be shifting back and forward between this plank pose and a downward facing dog with leg reach. So we'll stay here on plank. We'll inhale, and then exhale, lift the hips up. Take that left hand and reach for the right ankle. If you can't reach for the ankle, just reach for the thigh or the calf. Left hand back down, come forward, plank. Inhale. Exhale, hips lift. Right hand towards that left ankle. Right hand back down, inhale, back forward. Good, exhale, lift, left hand to right ankle. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, lift, right hand to left ankle. Inhale, back to center. Now you kind of got the flow, go back and forth at your own pace. Inhaling through plank. Exhaling, down, down, reach. Inhaling through plank. Exhaling, down dog, reach. You can also just go back between plank and down dog if the reach feels like too much for you today. One more on each side. coming back through plank, lowering all the way back down onto your mat. We're going to take another little back exercise here. This time, bring your hands out kind of like they're goal posts. So elbows in line with the shoulders here, palms facing down. Feet and tops of the legs firmly planted on the mat. On our inhale, we're going to lift that chest up as we bring those elbows and hands behind us, look up and back. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release. Good, a few more times. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, 2 more. Exhale, last one. And then all the way down. Press those hands underneath the shoulders, curl the toes, come up onto the knees, press back, child's pose. Hips back towards the heels, forehead towards the floor. From this position, we're going to take that right hand and we're going to thread it underneath the left arm, laying onto that right shoulder and the right side of the face. Good, as you're here, opening up through that right shoulder, keep trying to press the hips back. Good, unwind, inhale back through center. Exhale, left arm underneath the right. Left shoulder, lay on the left side of the face. Inhale, slowly unwind. Come back to tabletop position. Lift up, downward facing dog. Look between the hands. Make your way to the top of the mat. Forward facing fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Sweep all the way up. Take that little back bend. And then hands through heart center. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, forward facing fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Hands down on the mat. This time, just take that left foot and step it all the way to the back of the mat. So you're coming into a lunge position. Left hand stays down. Inhale, reach the right arm up for a twist. Good, right hand down. We're gonna rotate that left foot down so it's parallel to the short edge of the mat. And inhale, open those arms up, warrior 2. Bend deeply into that right knee. See if you can get that knee in line with the ankle or close to it. Make sure the left leg is straight. Good. We'll flip that right palm up, inhale, reverse. Reach up and over. Back to warrior 2, keeping that right knee bent. Then right forearm to the right thigh and reach that left arm up and over. Great, warrior 2. Reverse. Warrior 2. Extended side angle. Let's hold warrior 2, coming back to it. And if you want, you can either stay here or we can try half-moon pose. To go into half-moon pose, what we're going to do is we're going to bring that right hand towards the top of the right corner of the mat. Bring that left hand to the left hip. And then look towards the top of the mat. And you're going to bring all of your weight into that right leg. Good. So that right hand is to help keep you stable, but you're trying to stack the hips up. So imagine that left hip bone lifted up towards the sky. Takes a lot of balance here, a lot of concentration. It's a really good time to check back in with those thoughts. Having this ability to give ourselves a sense of detachment can also keep us really grounded and grateful for what is here in the present. Sometimes if we cling to things too much, we can't even grow. I was reading something in a book of mine that said, you know, a bird can't fly if it's still holding on to its perch. And I think that's interesting that sometimes what keeps, you know, what we hold on to so deeply can prevent us from going to new places. I also said that to distract you while you were in Halfmoon, so you're welcome. Slowly begin to step back, bring that left leg behind you. Try to make your back to warrior two. Now, if you fall over, that's totally fine. Very normal as you begin to practice these postures. We'll straighten that right leg. Inhale, reach forward with that right hand, and exhale, open up triangle pose. In triangle, we're trying to stack the shoulders on top of each other. Right palm is open. If you need some extra support, right hand can rest on that right leg. That's perfectly fine. But you're imagining getting everything in one line here. So press those hips forward as you open up through the chest. Good. Inhale, slowly lift up. And we'll cartwheel our hands down and take it back downward facing dog. If you need to shake out your legs here and down dog, that's perfectly fine. As you're ready, look between the hands, walk the feet forward, forward facing fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway, flat back. Exhale, releasing. Inhale, reverse swan dive, sweep the arms up. Palms touch, press those hips forward, open up to the heart. And then hands back through heart center. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, release. This time, hands come to the top of the mat and you're stepping that right foot back. Once that right foot is there, keep the right hand grounded down. And you can inhale, spiral that chest towards that bent leg and reach that left arm up towards the ceiling. And maybe you can even look up towards the left thumb if it's comfortable for the neck. Do your best to keep your right leg straight. As you're ready, left hand comes down. We're spiraling that right foot so it's parallel to the short edge of the mat. And we're inhale, lifting up all the way, warrior two on the opposite side. You can make little adjustments as you need. It's really important that we're trying to get that left heel to bisect the middle of the back foot, if you were to draw that little line. And we're trying to get as close to 90 degrees in that left leg as possible. It's okay if it's not completely there. We'll take a little bit of a flow here. Left palm flips up. Inhale, reverse. Reach up and back. Warrior two. And then your version of extended side angle. Forearm to thigh. Maybe reach that right arm up and over. Good. Warrior two. Reverse. And as you come into extended side angle, maybe you can get that bicep closer towards that ear. Really reaching out long through those left fingertips. Great job. Warrior two. From here, you can stay here, or you can try Halfmoon on the opposite side. Sometimes our sides are different, so this side, you might find more stability. Right hand to the right hip, left hand to the left corner of the mat. Bringing all of your weight into your left leg. Stacking the hips. I'm going to have to move away from this couch. Stacking the hips. Flexing that right foot, and then lifting that right arm up towards the sky. So it might be easier to keep your balance looking towards the floor to begin, because it keeps us a little bit more stable. And you might have to have both hands grounded down for a minute, but then you can bring that right hand to the right hip and lift that right arm up. If you find that the balance is just crazy hard for you here, you can always do this pose against a wall. So bringing your back up against a wall, giving you a little bit of extra support. It can also be helpful to put a book underneath your left hand. But in all of these balancing postures, there's these tiny little muscles in the legs that you can't actually see but need to be strengthened, and a lot of muscle memory goes into it as you learn what the postures feel like. And that's part of the growth, is just recognizing where you're at and then committing to try again and try again and try again. One more inhale. Exhale, try to slowly step back. Lots of control here. Back to warrior two. Cartwheeling the hands down and coming back to downward facing dog. Maybe pedaling your feet out a few times. Maybe rolling out your ankles. And all we're going to do from here is look between the hands and try to take a little hop so your ankles cross and you find the seat. So try your best not to overthink it. Just look between your hands. You're jumping so your ankles cross. And you find the seat. It may or may not work, but that's okay. Just get there however you need to. We're going to bring our hands underneath our thighs, lifting our shins up and bringing the feet together. Just a little bit of core work before we continue on. Hands to prayer if that feels comfortable. And we're just going to tap that right elbow down towards the right side of the mat. Lift back through center. And then left elbow down towards the left side. Lift back through center. Yeah, just back and forth. Right, center, left, center. Good. Now this is plenty for me today. You're feeling super ambitious and you want to try straightening the legs as you do that, by all means, you're welcome. Good, one more each side. And hands out, parallel. Slowly lower, as slow as you can, all the way down to the floor. Extending that upper body and those legs. And then once you're there, hug your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze and just roll back and forth, right and left, to massage your lower back. And then as you're ready, you can begin to roll forward and back. Maybe hands come in front of the shins or hands come behind the thighs, just to release the spine long ways. And what you're trying to do is to build up enough momentum here so that you can come up to stand without using your hands. And if it doesn't work, just use your hands. It's okay. Great job. Inhale, sweep and lift through the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, release. Take that right foot behind you, and then we'll walk our hands to the center of the mat, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. In wide-legged forward fold, we want the toes pointed slightly in, and our heels are in line with each other. Let's start with our palms down on the mat. Left palm right in the center. Inhale, reach that right arm up for a twist. Great, exhale, release. Right hand comes down and inhale, lift that left arm up for a twist. Exhale, release. And then if you want, you can begin to crawl the hands behind you, so fingertips point behind you. And you can try to bring the crown of the head closer towards the floor. If that feels crazy impossible, you can try widening your stance. That might help. And if you're not touching the floor yet, that's perfectly fine as well. I definitely was not when I first started practicing yoga. Take some deep breaths. And then slowly begin to walk your hands back through center. Point those, it's okay if you're not facing towards me for this, but point those right toes towards the top or the back of your mat. And then begin to walk your hands over towards that foot. So you're coming over towards the right leg. Right toes are pointed forward and both hands are on the inside of that right leg. This is what's called lizard pose. Once you're there, you can drop the left knee down and we're just taking some deep breaths. If you feel comfortable there and you want to try something else, you can also come onto your elbows from this position. Good. Start to come back up onto your hands. Lift that left knee off the mat. And we're staying nice and low. We're just crawling our hands over to the opposite side. So you're rotating your feet, rotating your hands, coming into lizard on the left side. So hands are on the inside of that left leg, and then you can drop the right knee down. Good. Few breaths here. You can come onto the forearms if you'd like. Begin to lift up that right knee. Listening carefully, we're stepping that left leg back to meet the right and coming to downward facing dog. Preparing for pigeon pose, we'll inhale, lift that left leg up. Exhale, left knee towards the left wrist and ankle towards the right. So getting that shin as parallel as you can to the top of the mat, and then you can begin to walk that right leg back behind you. Inhale, you're gonna lift and lengthen. So come up onto those fingertips. Imagine your spine getting longer. And then you can hinge from the hips. Slowly lower, come closer towards the floor. And we're gonna take a few moments here in this position. See if you can let go just a little bit more if you're holding tension through your hands or through your face. If you're clinging on to any of those thoughts, see if you can give yourself that little bit of space. You can even rest the hands or the forehead on the hands if that helps you release a little bit more. As you're ready, let's slowly come back up on the palms. We'll lift that right knee off the mat and take it back to downward facing dog. Shake out the legs, maybe bend and straighten that left leg a few times especially. And we'll make our way to the same thing on the opposite side. Right leg will lift, right knee towards that right wrist, ankle towards the left. Trying to get that shin as parallel to the top half of the mat as you can. And then walk the left leg back just to increase that length through the legs. Inhale, you're coming on up onto the fingertips, maybe even looking up and back slightly. Staying here, or as you're ready, just releasing down towards the floor. Take your time, we'll be here for a few moments just as we were on the other side, so don't feel rushed going deeper, you can go your own pace. But as you release, just notice if there's anything that you're holding on to. If there's any tension anywhere in the body that can be relaxed a little bit more. And as you're ready, slowly come back up on the palms of the hands. Forward over onto the right side, swinging that left leg around. You can just shake out both legs, especially that right knee that was bent for a while. Extending both legs out in front of you, both arms out in front of you, and releasing to the floor, one vertebrae at a time. Nice and slow. Seeing how much control you have today. And once you're all the way down, taking as much time as you need to get there, all we're going to do is bend the knees and try to grab onto the outsides of the feet, pulling the knees down towards the floor to get the back completely flat on the mat. For happy baby, you can just roll right and left. You can play around here, straightening one or both legs at the same time. And then we'll bring the knees back together, releasing the grip around the feet. Just coming into a final spinal twist, arms out to either side, knees together, letting them drop over towards the right as you look over that left shoulder. Inhale back through center. Exhale over towards the left as you look over that right shoulder. Inhale back through center. Legs lift up overhead, just letting the energy kind of drain the opposite way that it usually does. You can stay here or you can lift the hips up. Bring your hands underneath the hips. If you prefer that variation instead for shoulder stand. If there's any other postures that you want to take at this time, please feel free to do so. And then as you're ready, you can slowly release, coming all the way down, laying on your backs, arms beside the body and palms facing up, and eyes gently closed. As you come into this place of rest, allowing yourself to soak up all the good practice, mentally and physically, that you've done within the past few minutes. And giving yourself the permission just to stay present in this place. Knowing that other things can take our attention later, but for right now, this is exactly where we need to be. We'll stay here for a few moments of personal meditation and silence, and then we'll end our class together. As you're ready, starting to bring your attention back to your surroundings, maybe deepening your breath, bringing a little bit of movement into your body, starting with the fingertips and toes, traveling up through the ankles, the wrists, then eventually lifting the hands all the way up overhead, stretching top to bottom like you're waking up from a really good night's sleep. And then knees in to the center of the body, give yourself a little hug before rolling over to whatever side you choose, just resting there for a moment, using that bottom arm as a pillow. And then very slowly you can push yourself up back to that comfortable seat, sitting up nice and tall, eyes still closed, or just closing them again when you get there. Let's seal our time with each other, like by taking a big inhale, lifting our arms up overhead, palms touch, and then slowly lowering the hands, letting them pause over the forehead as both a symbol and reminder for us to have kind thoughts, over the mouth for gentle words, and over the heart for pure intentions. The light within me sees the light within each of you. Namaste.